Hey guys, and welcome back to another video. And in today's video, I've got a different type of puzzle. So this is not a Rubik's Cube and this is not a puzzle. This is called the Maze Cube. Okay? Yeah. So in this cube, once you shuffle this cube, all these colors are gonna be in different places. And well, there's no algorithms or there's no steps. It's just simple movement. I think it'll be easier to tell you what the movement is once I shuffle this cube. So I'll meet you when I shuffle this cube. Now what I have to do is I have to do the first layer. So for the first layer, this is my first layer. So to do this layer right here, I have to get like a color, or like over here. I don't want any colors like this, like two joint pieces. Like this is a pink and this is another pink. Now here is what I was gonna tell you before. How do you move around the colors? So over here we're doing the first layer. So let's get the empty gap onto the second layer. So this is the second layer and the empty gap is over here. Now if you see a double piece, you get the gap on the single, like on one of the doubles. Okay, so this is the second of the pink, which I don't want, so I'll take it out. And now over here, yep, I am missing this light green piece. So for that, I'm gonna get the light green piece onto this gap. Like, move it, just move it. And then we bring it down. So with that, what I've got is no doubles. Well, let's just check again because I have another one. Now let's see which color goes in there. And it's obvious, I found it. So again, we take this gap and we put it over the color which is doubled. So now what I do is I take this piece and put it in the empty gap on the second layer. And then I have to take the color which is not once in this whole layer, which is the dark green, and then I put the dark green like over here. So now let's do the second layer. Okay, so this is our second layer. So for the second layer, what I'm gonna have to do is that I have to do and take this piece. So over here is an orange and we have to get an orange. Now on the third layer, we have to find if there's any orange on the whole third layer, which there clearly isn't. So I have this orange piece, which is in another layer, but I can fit over here too. So over here is where things get a bit challenging. So now what I have to do is I have to take this orange piece down. Then I have to take this empty gap and put it over another piece. And now here's the thing, you have to forget that the other piece was there. Okay, and then again the gap is onto the third layer, which we clearly want. Okay, and then we put it over the green piece. So you can see that if we move this green piece in the gap, there's a gap on the second layer. Now if we put this orange piece in the gap, we have two oranges. So we have a light blue, which is still done for now, then orange, which is good for now, and the red, which is good for now. Now over here, let's do the, I don't know what you exactly call this color, purple or maybe dark blue. So we take this dark blue and over here we have a piece which is not supposed to be here, but this piece is. Now the gap is over it, so we can take this piece and put this light green piece in the gap. Now if you move this light green piece, you're gonna have an empty gap right here. Then we can move this layer and we can get this dark blue piece, put it over the gap, and then put the dark blue piece in the gap. Now we have the blank piece, the blank place on the third layer again. Now let's go to the next color. So these two are already matched. Let's do pink. So let's see if there's any pink. Yep, there is. So now the first thing we do is that we take this orange and put it in the empty gap. So we put it in the empty gap and yep, so we put it in the empty gap and we have an empty gap over here. a lot of empty gaps, but still. So there's an empty gap here where a pink is supposed to fit. Now, of course, I can't take this pink and put it here because the rest of the cube is gonna get messed up. But yeah, so now I'll move this layer until I find a pink. Now, if you don't have a pink on this layer, of course, you can borrow it from this upper layer, which I'll show you how to do in just a second. But yeah, so now you take this piece and put it down. Now for the light green. Light green, we already have a piece which is clearly visible. So we take the empty gap right above the light green and we put the not needed piece in the gap. Now the gap is filled and there's an empty gap right here where the light green should go. Now you can see that we have the dark green. So we take this dark blue and we put it in the empty gap. Then let's keep on moving this layer and see if we have a dark green. Yes, we do. So we put it down. Now, like before, I told you how to borrow. I told you that I would tell you how to borrow a color from the top layer, which I'll show you right now. So I'll get the quiz and I'll be with you guys. So over here, you guys can see that I have a light green piece over here, which I have to take it down right here. So we put the empty gap on the layer. But here's the problem. I can't take this piece up and I cannot move this layer until we get a light green piece because the only light green piece we have is up here. So now what we do is we take this light green piece and put it in the empty gap right here. Then we take this gap and move it upwards. And then we take a random piece and put it in the gap. And now you have the light green piece in the layer. And so we have the empty gap. So we put the empty gap on the layer, which we want to switch it. And then we put the the yellow in the empty gap. The green over it. And here our second layer is done. Now let's go on to the third layer, which is following the same method, but well, I'll just show you how to do it. Okay, so now let's start. I already have the green one done. Now let's do the light blue one. So the light blue, we already have the light blue in this layer. And now you may wonder why I'm doing it in the fourth layer, because currently we are doing the third one. That's why we had the empty gap in the third layer when we were doing the second layer. So now what we do is we take this yellow piece, and put it in the gap. Now we move this layer till I have a light blue, which I do have. So we take this light piece and we put it down. This is done. Now let's do orange. There's an orange piece visible right here, so I will try to find it. I'll take this dark blue piece and put it in the empty gap. Move the fourth layer to get the next color, and I'll put it down. We have another empty gap here. So let's take this pink and we put in the gap. Now here we already have the red piece which I saw earlier. So I'll take this red piece and I'll put it down. Next I'll do the yellows. So for this, this is the empty gap. I'll put the pink in the empty gap. And I'll take the yellow. I'll move it until I get the yellow. And then I'll put it and I'll join the three yellows. Next I have pink. The pink has a light blue. We put it in the empty gap. And we take the pink and then we put a bar. So we have three pink done too. But the last one, which is the light green. Okay, we take the light green up once. And then we find the color, which we do have, and then we put it down. So now here we have 3 layers of all the colors done. Now let's do the fourth one, which is actually easy. So show this here. So now we have to do these 4 like we have it in this green one. So over here, this is a blue piece which is not supposed to be here, so I'll take it out. And then we have a green piece. So we take this green piece, move it till we have the empty gap, and then we'll put it down. Now the empty gap is going to be on the last layer because we are doing the second last layer. So again, we put it up. This is a blue piece, a yellow piece which isn't supposed to be here. this is an orange right down. So we take this orange up and then we'll put it. Then we'll move the empty gap onto the red layer and then we'll put the orange in there because orange doesn't belong. Then we put the red piece and then we'll put it down. We already have the dark blue piece done. So next we'll move on to yellow. So we'll put the yellow piece up, find the yellow piece and then put it back down. So we have 4 yellows done too. Next, let's do the pink one. The red doesn't belong here, so let's get it out. And then we'll find the pink piece and then we'll put it back in. So that we have 4 pinks done. Now this is the last step. None of these are hard, but this is the most challenging one, you can say, of all of these layers. So let's do the last layer. Okay, so now for me in my cube, the green layer doesn't have an extra piece. So that's why we have a blank and then we have the rest of the pieces. So now let's move on. Let's do the light blue. Now over here, you might say that I can't follow any method because the only color which I have here is blue. So if I have only blue, I'll take the blue up and I'll take the other blue which is on the layer and I'll put it down and then I'll match it up again. I'm already done with this 2 pieces, so I'll move on. So over here is a red and it is on the correct place, on the correct layer, but I'm gonna have to take it out for a bit and then I'll find the next red piece. Once I find it, I'll put it down and then I'll match it up again with another red piece. So these 3 until now haven't been shuffled. Okay, so let's move on. So over here we have the dark blue piece. Okay, and then we take the empty gap, put it on this dark blue place. We'll take the correct edge up a bit because yeah, that's what we have to do now because we don't have any other wrong pieces in this layer. Then we'll take the other dark blue place and put it in place. Now let's move it around till it gets solved. So these 3 have been solved, but unfortunately this one hasn't. But let's move on. It's not a big deal because we're gonna do it again because sometimes on the last layer you might have to do it twice or thrice. Now next we have this blue piece. So now we take this gap and we'll put it on the yellow piece and then we'll put it on the yellow, find the next yellow, put it down and then match the yellow with the yellow, which we unfortunately can't again. Next we have the pink piece, so let's do the same thing with the pink piece and we can match that one too. Now here we have done all of these colors like till this light green, but the thing is we won't shuffle these 3. So now what we have to do is we have to start solving all of these. Okay, just keep on moving it and correcting them until they're finally corrected. So now this is this piece and this is the last piece. And then we are done with the whole cube. Okay, so I know the last bit where I was doing these 4 colors might have been a bit confusing, but you see when you properly get them done, once, it's easier because these 3 are going to stay in their place and not going to move once you're solving these 4 colors. But now we're done and this was actually easy. I can solve this anywhere I like. This is small. See, it clearly says that it can go anywhere. Duh, it has tires. So yep, this was it for this corn cube and that's it. See you in the next video.